Hi guys, welcome to today's lesson. We're going to be looking at page 127 to 128 in your books, okay? So make sure you get it ready so you can accompany me through the lesson, okay? We're going to be starting with the new content. Let's repeat. Lucrative, a profit, profitable, an entrepreneur, an amateur, to profit, to specialize, a chain, a franchise, a strike, a padlock, a specialist, to boycott, a boycott, to strike, innovative, to innovate, the public sector. Okay, so we're going to look first of all at the two idioms that are underneath. To let off steam and a blessing in disguise. To let off steam means to do or say something that helps you to get rid of strong feelings or energy. So this idea of to let off steam is the idea of to do things that help us feel less stressed, okay? So I sometimes do some meditation, which helps me let off steam, helps me calm down, reduce my stress levels, okay? Could also be a glass of red wine for me or a piece of chocolate. I don't know what you do to let off steam. What do you do? Also, we have a blessing in disguise, a blessing in disguise. This means that something that seems bad or unlucky at first, but results in something good happening later. So remember, a blessing is what a priest does, okay? So he blesses us. And a disguise is something that we use to change our appearance, to make sure that people don't recognize us. So a blessing in disguise would be this idea of something that seems bad when we first experience it, but then we realize the result is actually good, is actually positive. So for example, quarantine. Quarantine is a kind of blessing in disguise for English students because you now have more time to study, more time to do extra activities, more time to practice your listening, more time for you to watch your favorite TV series in English. Okay, so it's a kind of blessing in disguise. It's something that bad or unlucky it seems, but results in something good happening. Okay, which is that you guys are studying more. Okay. So those are the two idioms that we have here in the lesson. Let's go back to the new content words. Lucrative. Lucrative means to produce a lot of money, okay? To produce a lot of money. So you could say that Microsoft is a very lucrative business. Lucrative business. It's an adjective. A profit. A profit is a noun. It means money that is earned by a company after they pay everything. So imagine my school. Once I pay my teachers, I pay my book companies, I pay the bills, the taxes, everything. The money that is left is my profit, okay? Profitable is an adjective, so we could use it in the same way as lucrative. We could say that Microsoft is a profitable company, okay? An entrepreneur is a person who starts a business. So we use a lot of nowadays, we say startups, yeah? But this idea of entrepreneur is originally what a startup was, what a person from a startup is, you know? So a person who decides to create a business, normally with some kind of new idea, is an entrepreneur, okay? An amateur is a person who is not professional. So when I was a teenager, I liked to do theater productions. So I would go and act and things like this. But I was an amateur actress. I wasn't a professional actress, okay? No one would pay me. To profit is a verb, okay? So we've seen profitable, a profit, and now we have the verb to profit. To profit is the idea of to make something lucrative, okay? So for example, I need to make sure that I calculate all the things that I have to pay in my school in order to make a profit, okay? In order to profit from working at my school, okay? So this is the verb. We could also use to profit in circumstances which are not business-like, okay? We could say, for example, quarantine is a difficult time, but we can profit from the extra time by studying, okay? So this is the idea of making the most of the moment, okay? To specialize means, similar in Portuguese, to study a particular skill or ability. This is what doctors do after they have finished university. They specialize. If they're going to be a pediatric doctor, they're going to be orthopedic doctor, they specialize, okay? A chain is something that is connecting related things. We normally use it when we talk about topics that are basically linked together, okay? We can talk about a chain of events that are linked together, or we can talk about the idea of a chain of shops or businesses. So, for example, Pernambucanas has lots of different shops, but one principal owner of these shops. It would be a chain of shops. They are all related in some way, okay? A franchise, similar in Portuguese, is the idea of a brand, okay? So we have franchises of English schools in Brazil. My school isn't a franchise, but for example, we could say Wizard, for example, is a franchise. There are various wizards all over Brazil. A strike is to stop working in protest. So this happens a lot with factory workers when they want to get higher wages or they want to work shorter hours, okay? They will protest. They might protest by striking, which means stop working until they get what they want, okay? So this is very common in France, for example. They love to strike, especially people who work in the public areas of jobs, okay? So this is a strike, and we have on the other side to strike, which is the verb. A padlock is a small metal object which we use to lock something, okay? So I'm going to draw it for you. We have like a U shape here, and then we have like this metal thing here, okay? And we normally need to put a key in here to unlock it, okay? So this is a padlock. So this normally happens when you have a locker or you have a bicycle, you might padlock it, okay? A specialist is somebody who specializes in something, okay? So for example, I'm a specialist in teaching English now after 10 years of being an English teacher. To boycott, it means to refuse to buy something because you are protesting against something that company is doing. So for example, imagine there is a big company that I decide I'm not going to buy from them because they do not pay their workers well. So I decide to boycott their products because I don't agree with the way that the company works, okay? This is to boycott, and a boycott is the noun, okay? So we could say there is a boycott of hamburgers from that famous American food chain, okay? To strike, we've seen innovative. Innovative means using new methods or ideas, okay? So we could say Apple always has innovative ideas. To innovate is the noun. We need always to innovate in our lessons as English teachers, especially now in quarantine. You've seen all of us trying to innovate a lot, yes? And the public sector are people who work for the government. The opposite would be the private sector, okay? The public sector. So now we're going to do the part of let's repeat. The business's profits were very lucrative this year, and the chain decided to open more stores. Many entrepreneurs have people laughing at them when they start creating their new and innovative ideas because they can be unusual. Apprentices must pay attention to every detail when they are learning in order to not make mistakes later. She wanted to boycott the strike as she didn't agree with the protesters. So here she stopped. She wanted to avoid the strikes because she didn't agree with those who was protesting. Richard Branson is a famous British entrepreneur who created businesses from music to space travel. She tries to let off steam by running every evening back from work. People had been campaigning for the public to boycott the company's products. The company had to eliminate 200 jobs in order to stay profitable. Following the rules had been a blessing in disguise. Now she was the best student in her school. So let's practice. Are many singers amateurs for long periods before they become professionals? Yes, many singers are amateurs for long periods before they become professionals. What happened in the 1970s in London which resulted in many problems with public services? Between 1978 and 1979 in London, there were a large number of public sector strikes which caused many problems, such as trash not being collected and grave diggers not working. Give me an example of an innovative piece of technology and how it has changed people's lives. An innovative piece of technology, I think, is the cell phone, the touch screen of the cell phone specifically. It has changed people's lives because it's basically allowed people to communicate all over the world, okay? And I especially think touch screens is because we can film, we can take photos, we can do lots of things interacting with our cell phones. Do we sometimes see, after some time has passed, that a bad result was really a blessing in disguise? Yes, we sometimes see, after some time has passed, that a bad result was really a blessing in disguise. So here, for example, maybe you didn't pass the exam. It's a bad result. You feel bad. But suddenly you realize if you work harder, you will be able to pass. And for all the other tests, you pass the first time because you remember that first time. So it's a blessing in disguise. Would you boycott a company's products if you knew they were doing something wrong? Yes, I would boycott a company's products if I knew they were doing something wrong. If a company becomes successful, what might its owner decide to do? If a company becomes successful, its owner might decide to open a franchise. Are there many amateur photographers putting their photos online nowadays? Yes, there are many amateur photographers putting their photos online nowadays. We can see this all the time on Instagram. Can you name a famous entrepreneur in your country? What did they create? What did they do? Yes, I can name a famous entrepreneur in my country. If I talk about Brazil, everybody always gives the example of Silvio Santos. Yes, Silvio Santos created his TV network, his own programs, etc. And he started very low down and managed to become one of the richest people in Brazil. Yes. So this would be a very famous entrepreneur here in Brazil. Also, there is the example of Anita. Okay. Anita is obviously a very famous singer, but she's actually a very intelligent businesswoman. I'm not particularly a fan of her music, but I think that she's an intelligent entrepreneur. She knows when to and how to make the most of her business. Okay. When doctors graduate, do they need to specialize in a particular area? Yes. When doctors graduate, they need to specialize in a particular area. Was there a truck driver's strike in Brazil in 2018? Why did they strike? Yes, there was a truck driver's strike in Brazil in 2018. They striked because of the high price of diesel. Do you remember last year, the year before last? It was difficult, yes? What chain of clothing shops do you like to buy clothes in? A chain of clothing shops that I like to buy clothes in is Zara. Zara is a European brand. They have shops here in Brazil. Their products are quite expensive here in Brazil. But in my country and in England, they aren't. It's a very affordable range of clothing. And I think that they are stylish, classic, and not expensive. How much profit does an average franchise of a famous American fast food chain make per year? The average franchise of a famous American fast food chain makes a profit of $66,000 per year. If I wanted to divorce my partner, what area would my lawyer need to be specialized in? If you wanted to divorce your partner, your lawyer would need to be specialized in family law. What type of business do you think will be more lucrative in the future? I think the type of business which will be more lucrative in the future will be food that is organic. It's something that I've seen in my country. A lot of people now focus on buying organic food. They look to where their food is coming from. I think it's something that will grow in Brazil and eventually won't be so expensive. Can you name a mountain chain in Canada? Yes, I can name a mountain chain in Canada, the Rockies. So here, do you understand the idea of chain? They are linked together. What was Emily wearing around her neck? Emily was wearing a beautiful silver chain around her neck. Another meaning for chain is here, necklace. So this would be a chain where they are linked together. Why do many graduates work as apprentices? Many graduates work as apprentices because they need to learn how to put their knowledge and skills into practice. Is it a positive thing for a bank to try and profit from their clients' bad luck? No, it isn't a positive thing for a bank to try and profit from their clients' bad luck. It's something I think the banks all over the world need to learn because of the coronavirus, that this is the time they should help people and not punish them. Was there a boycott of the chocolate company's products because of problems with their workers' rights? Yes, there was a boycott of the chocolate company's products because of problems with their workers' rights. What was Amy a specialist in? Amy was a specialist in how to profit from an economic crisis. Which industry is always trying to innovate? The fashion industry is always trying to innovate. Should a company try to innovate to attract new customers? Yes, a company should try to innovate to attract new customers. So this is something lots of companies are doing at the moment. They are innovating in order to survive during quarantine. What happened to the character of Mary in the soap opera last night? The character of Mary in the soap opera last night discovered that her daughter was trying to profit from her unhappy relationship with Reginald and had been stealing money from her. So here is the other meaning of profit, okay? Are you a specialist in English grammar and vocabulary yet? No, I am not a specialist in English grammar and vocabulary yet, but I will be by the end of this course. And what do you do to let off steam? So I meditate, I do exercise. At the moment I'm training at home. I've got like circuits going on outside. I also like to read. I have a lot of books. I'm in my living room now. If you could see, I have lots and lots of books here on this wall. And also I like to listen to music. Okay, so those are the things that I do to let off steam. In the live, everyone's going to be talking about what they do to let off steam. So make sure you have some ideas, okay? And it's not just sleeping, okay? That's always the traditional answer, okay? So that's the lesson finished today. In the live, we will be revising all this content. So if you have any questions, it's just ask me, okay? We also have homework, okay? So I've asked you to do chapters 1 to 3, the activity that I've sent to you, the formal activity, okay, in PDF form or Word. You can write the answers in your notebook and send me a picture, or you can write it on the computer. But you need to do the first activity because next week we'll be doing the continuing in the book, okay, so don't forget about the Pearl. The second is the news and levels. Do you remember news and levels? I asked you to do another one. We talked really well about the last one in the last live. This time we're going to be looking at another news and levels. This time it's going to be about the environment, okay? And also I'm going to ask you to do the activity, which is basically about the past perfect simple and the past perfect and the past simple, okay? So I'm going to send you a picture in your WhatsApp group what worksheet it is, and we're going to be correcting that on Thursday, okay, in our live. So we're going to be revising, correcting the past perfect, and talking about news and levels. So we've got lots to do on Thursday, so don't miss out with the live, okay? And I will see you then. Take care, and make sure you're studying.